There we go. Now we are recording. So,
Right.
what I'm going to attempt, and it should be okay, is something we talked about at the last, I don't know, the last meeting or the last workshop. I'm going to go ahead and attempt to do a little gavel. So, because I always wanted one and I never had one. So, what I'm starting out with is a little block of Bolognese that I just cut a kind of a squarish rectangular block out of a hunk. And
Ralph, not to interrupt you, but is your demo the one you talked about as we guessed what the demo's about?
what's that?
You didn't mention what the demo's going to be about. So do we,
It's
Uh,
going to be about?
He wants a gavel.
Got a gavel.
a
Yes.
gavel.
I had him muted. Thank you.
You're muted,
I get.
or I was muted.
Thank you,
A
John.
gavel,
Welcome.
not gravel, gavel. This is a little piece of Bolognese, also known as Vera wood, and actually also sold online by many people as Argentine lignum vitae. So, with that being said, I'm going to put on my dust mask and make this thing round and see if I can figure out how to make a gavel.
First you wink at it.
And I think what I'm going to have to do is ask everybody to mute themselves, please. So I'm going to go ahead and round this down using a spindle roughing gouge. Okay, you can use anything you like for roughing down. This is what I'm using, just a spindle roughing gouge, 3/4. I'm turning this thing at about 1500 RPM. See what we got here. There were a few bug holes in this. All right, that looks pretty good there. So I'm going to switch tool rests here. So let me clean that up a little bit more. I'm gonna square one in and get a tenon on it. Make that a little bit smaller. So now I want to square up the other end. Now I'm going to get my overall length on this thing. So I think I'm going to make this thing 3.5 inches overall, approximately. See what we end up with. That'll leave me some room to part this off. So I'll put a parting line here. And then I'll get my center of that. Oh, we're 3 3/4. Okay, so half of 3 3/4 is 7/8. 7/8. Switch glasses here. Yeah, there we go.
What are you measuring there, Ralph?
I'm marking details.
Okay.
Okay, beads. So let's see how close I got. So I'm 1/2 inch and 1 inch. I'm 9/16 and 1 inch. Pretty darn close by eye. Okay. So then I'm just winging this. I've never made one of these. So what I'm gonna do now is reduce my diameter a little bit at the end, using a bedan. Okay. So now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna roll this into a bead on here, a little attempt to. Okay, and then we'll roll this one over. A little bit of a cove in there. Come back and clean that up, it'll be down a little bit. Okay. So we'll just round this edge over a hair. Remove a little material. Get my tailstock out of the way and clean that end up. Remove my live center. Let's switch cameras here for a minute. rid of that little nub there in the middle. Okay, so now what we'll do is, obviously, if you're gonna finish this off, you wanna go ahead and do all your finish sanding. I'm just gonna give it a little quickie here, so you get the idea. I guess my beads could have been a little better, but you take a little more time on the layout and need to reduce this diameter a hair. So now what I'm gonna do is go ahead and part this thing off. All right, I guess I'll use the big one. And when you're parting off something larger diameter like this, you want to make a relief cut so you don't jam your tool up in there. Okay. Now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna flip this around and very lightly grab it just enough to turn it. You could put some rubber pads on these jaws if you wanted. We just got to clean the end up here. That's all we got to do. Now the jaws that I've got on here are smooth jaws. So we'll take real light cut there. Clean that up. Lock your tool rest down first. Little cheater scrape there. Clean that up a little bit. Okay, so now we're gonna get the center here of our get the center right here, mark that, so we know where to drill our hole for the handle. Get a new pencil. All right, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna put a center punch mark on that. You want to kind of look it over and see where you think it's going to look best to put that hole. And I think probably as far as the look of the wood, I think it may be best to put the hole right there. So there's several ways to drill this. What I'm going to use is I'm going to take it out of the chuck. I'm going to drill it on the drill press. I'm going to use a drill jig, a drilling jig. You can see that it's two pieces of piece of 2x4 cut on an angle and then screwed to a piece of plywood back to back. So you've got a cradle to support your circular piece. Okay. So that's how I'm going to do this. So give me about 2 minutes to walk over to the drill press, which I'm not going to do on camera. I'll be right back. Okay, so now we've got our hole for our handle. I used a 5/8 drill bit. So now what we're going to go ahead and do is, this is not very perfect on the dimensions. You guys can see. I didn't do a real good job on that. So I can touch it up later. But anyway, so we're gonna get a handle going here. And for the handle, I'm gonna use a chunk of maple. So I just throw it in the chuck here. And not even going to bother to put a tenon on it at this point. I'm just going to get it in there and get it round so I can get a tenon on it. Back to the long tool rest, save a little bit of time. Set my caliper to the diameter of the hole. Then we'll come down here, establish the diameter of the tenon. Okay. Get rid of some of this bulk here. I'll use the spindle roughing gouge again. Whatever kind of decorations you want, a couple of beads. Little sanding. You want to put finish on it. You want to do a little wire burn on it. You know, anything you want to do. There's no rules on something like this. Whatever you like. And what I'll do is I'll go down here to the end and finish up the end. I don't know if that'll show it better. Trying to get my hands out of the way. I'll pull its tailstock out of the way. We're jiggling around pretty good there. So I'm gonna give this a little tighten. I'll turn my speed down. We're not quite, we're running a little out of perfect there. So go ahead and part that off. Get that a little sand. Come back up here and part this off. Okay. So now we've got a handle, hopefully fits. Okay, so. A couple of ways to attach this. One, we can just glue it. I saw one the other day where what the guy did is he split this, okay, put a saw cut in there, a slight V cut, and then made a wooden wedge. And of course, put glue on the wedge and glued everything, and then drove it home. So the wedge was proud of the top, so that when you drove it in, the wedge hit the bottom of the hole and expanded. So that's one
Can
way
you
to
center
do it.
that on the screen, please?
Yeah,
There we go.
there we
Yeah.
go.
Now you can see it.
Now you can see it. So you got the part about the wedge, right?
Yes.
Yeah, okay. And then also you got bug holes, which I didn't see, but anyway, that's just because that's from my shop. But I'm not going to glue this up because I'm going to do a little refining on it later. But basically, that's it. So, you know, whatever dimensions suit you. There's no set rules on something like this. You can do, you know, all kinds of whatever you want to do. I know Brian showed some last time where they had a metal band, and that's a whole nother deal. And there's several ways to do that, which we're not going to get into tonight.
Can you switch cameras for a wide shot?
Sure, I can do that.
All right.
Does that work okay?
Yeah.
Okay. So, and then of course, what you can also do, which I'm not going to do, is make a sounding block. Okay, you can either cut a square piece and just run a router around it to make a fancy edge, or you can turn a round piece with some fancy edge on it of something fairly hard, so that you're not beating on whatever you're whacking this thing to make a racket with.
And now you can officially end the meeting?
Yeah.
Yeah, I can do that unless anybody's got anything they want to say.
Now that you got a mallet.
Now that I got a mallet, I can crack some walnuts.
Actually, it's a gavel.
Look, croquet.
Yeah, yeah. Gavel.
Yeah.
Sorry.
A gavel, a mallet. You know, there's a variety of ways you can do this. You know, you could make it drill it all the way through and make the handle go all the way through with an exposed wedge. You know, if you wanted to get fancy, you could thread the handle where it's screwed on. All different kinds of ways to do it. What I'll do is I'll dig up a few videos on YouTube of different ones, and they can get more of an idea of what you know, different ways to do it. Although there's not a whole lot of different ways to do it. I did see something very interesting on one from Mike Peace from Georgia the other day about a shop-made fixture, which is something that Dave Freundlich and I have planned to do a demo on, you know, shop-made fixtures and, you know, jigs and tools and stuff. And I saw a real interesting one that if you don't have a drill press and you don't want to try and drill that thing by hand, it was a V block similar to the one I showed you to use on the drill press. But what he had done is he had made it out of I'm assuming what he did is he took a solid hunk of wood, something similar to this, but longer than this is, a cylinder, okay? And what he actually did is on one end of it, he turned a number 2 Morse taper, and then centered up on the other side, he actually cut a V block in here. Okay, so what you would do is you'd have to lay it out where it's centered up perfect and put this in a fixture to where you could come in on the bandsaw and cut this at a 45-degree angle safely. And that way, what he did is he put this fixture in the tailstock, and the round head of the gavel fit in the V section. Okay, and it was locked into the tailstock, and then he put his drill in the headstock and advanced the tailstock into the drill bit turning in the headstock. So just another way to, another shop made fixture that might come in handy for something. So I'll send a link to that video out when I send this video out. So, and of course, wood, any wood you've got, hard, if you're going to use this thing for anything, of course, you want a fairly hard wood for the head, and something, fairly strong wood for the handle. If you're just going to make them for decoration, make them out of anything. You could make a bunch of different ones, different sizes. So, and then, I forget who it is. You could even paint them silver. Somebody's, who's that? Maxwell's silver hammer or some such nonsense. So that's it. That's all I got.
Well done, Ralph.
Thank you, Ralph.
Very good.
Okay.
Thank you.
So I'm going to
Yes,
remove the
that's great.
spotlight. And anybody got any questions on that?
Nope.
I guess not.
Pretty clear.
No.
Okay. Anybody got anything they want to show tonight?
Yep, I've got some here, but. Hello?
Yeah.
Hello.
Yeah.
I do.
Crickets.
Huh?
Anyway, I'm a little late in doing this, but Brian gave us a challenge to do some eggs. So I had them done there, but let me turn off that background, but I hadn't finished them. So when I was doing this, it took a little longer because one of the eggs hatched.
Ah,
And what came out of it was this
hey.
multi-axis bird.
Cool.
That's that.
All right.
Thank you. Okay.
Yeah, I got something. A little thing. Got a little vase here. It's a mahogany vase with the ridges, coves and ridges.
Coves and ridges.
Yeah.
Cool.
Just lacquer finish. That's it.
Still using Deft?
Oh yeah.
Okay. Where are you buying it now?
Ace Hardware.
Oh, okay.
Right
They're,
down,
they're still selling it.
yeah, right down there by you, right?
Yeah.
Right by rod benders.
Yep.
I've got a little black iron wood pot with a sea grape top. I should be able to get off.
Ah, pop fit.
Yeah, it's there it is. Got
Cool.
Beautiful.
turquoise filled wormholes. There's the top. It's finished with shine juice. So yeah.
Nice.
One of these days I'll run out of sea grape.
What was the bowl made out of?
Black iron wood.
Black ironwood.
That, I've still got a little bit of that we went over and got from
Right.
that guy's yard.
Okay. Yeah, I haven't turned any.
Still got bugs in it?
Well, it's got holes in it. I don't know if the bugs are still there.
Okay.
Oh, wait a minute, I don't think it was this one. The last piece I turned, yeah, there were still some critters crawling around in there, kind of sprayed across the garage.
Oh, good.
I finished the pens. Oh, I need to be able to share my screen though, because they're packed up.
The what?
They're packed up, all 50 pens.
Hold on, let me see. How the hell we do this?
I think David has to say share screen and then you got to accept it. But David, once you like share.
Hold
screen-
on. Everybody keep quiet for 2 minutes.
All right.
All right, you're the host now, David, if you want to go to share screen.
All right, and you should be seeing all 50 pens laid out. I had the dark mahoganies are, these here are from cabinet doors. This is lumber. The lighter ones next to it are just maple, lumber and maple, a plank of lumber maple. And some random some aromatic cedar, some poplar when I was getting down to the end. Mahogany on the rack towards the end here, some scraps of mahogany, but I got all 50 of them done. So the pen cap is, the pen kit was stainless steel. So it was rather heavy set. And I did laser engrave them. Let me see if I can get this picture here. I don't know if you see that here, the laser engraving. There it is.
Dave, how did you end up getting the rest of the kits you were missing?
They came into Penn State and I ordered it from them.
Awesome. Cool.
There was number 50. And that's what they all kind of look like. That one is poplar and I used the Mylan's friction polish.
And David, how did you do the laser engraving? Did you do it by yourself or you sent?
Yeah, I did. I have a small laser engraver.
Okay, great. Very beautiful.
Thank you.
Does that Mylan finish hold up? Do you know?
I don't know if it holds up. It does look very nice finished.
Yeah.
The final product looked very nice. It's the first time I kind of used it. I've got a pen that I've made out of sea grape that I'm going to take apart and sand it down. I've been using it. It was I finished it with I want to say just a friction polish, another friction polish, and it's kind of lost its look. So I'm gonna take it apart, give it a light sanding, and refinish it with a Mylan's. Thank you, Ralph. You can take the show back.
Okay. That's a good question. How the hell do I do that?
You got to give it back to him, Dave.
You gotta give it back to me.
Yeah. You got to say, make Ralph host. Can I show something real quick? I don't want to cut in front of anybody.
Yeah.
I
Hold
got,
on.
oh,
Okay. You gotta give me back this thing.
yeah, the spotlight.
Where do I do that?
Over on the top right of my name, of my picture, there should be 3 dots.
Yeah.
Click on those.
right here, picture. Okay, there we go. You're the host.
Okay,
And there goes Ralph. You the boss.
all right, here. All right, you're spotlighted.
Okay, so I've been making these handles out of resin for these barbecue tools that are for flipping steaks and stuff. And I had them on my Instagram for over a year probably, and nobody ever said anything. And suddenly I got inundated with people asking for them. A bunch of barbecue professionals, I guess people that are really into barbecue. So I've been casting them out of resin, but the problem I was finding was that the threaded insert that comes with the kit, I get the barbecue flipper kit from Woodcraft. You have to drill in, and then with the resin, you can't just thread it in. It'll snap the resin apart for some reason.
Right,
You have to epoxy it in with 5-minute epoxy, but that would add like an extra day or two of work to making these handles.
right,
So I kind of found a mold that would let me work with the limitations of like the smallest I could go without it being a pen blank. So this is 1.5 by 1.5 by 6 inches. And if you see there, I took this little panel out, I drilled center, and I threaded it with a bolt, and then the threaded insert just stays there. So what I do is I put a little brass tube like from a pen blank just to give me space for the actual, to go give it some depth when it threads in. I pour my resin around this, and now that basically gives me like these, that they're just basically the threaded insert. You can see it in there is built
Cast in.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna suggest if you hadn't already figured it out, was cast them in place.
Yeah.
And then of course, when you're turning them, you're driving off the threads. So
Right.
it's concentric.
Yeah, so it was exactly like what you said. So I thought that was a pretty neat idea, and I've been able to turn them around a lot faster because I was telling
hell
people
yeah.
like 2 weeks to get everything done because you got to give the resin a few days to sort of fully cure, but then to add another extra 24 hours or 2 days to do the 5-minute epoxy. And plus the 5-minute epoxy, even if you added the resin color, like on some of them I would add like matching pigment, it still never looked right. So this, I think, gives a more professional look. So I've sent them to Texas. I sent one to Washington today, Washington State. So all over. I've had a bunch of guys like they sort of blew up, and I'm like, this is really random because it's like I hadn't even advertised it. But yeah, I just wanted to share those. I also been working with a material called ebonite for making the fountain pens. Ebonite's like a rubber. If anybody's like bowling ball
Volleyball
material. Yes,
From the 50s.
exactly. Smells horrendous when you turn it. It stinks up the house. Everybody hates it here. But the pens are gorgeous because they look almost like wood grain, but it's in colors. So I don't have one here because the first one I made I sold right away. So I'll share pictures with Brian later, and you guys can see it in the newsletter. But that's all I got. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, anybody else? So I guess we're silent again. Those crickets are coming out again. So, all
Good
right,
job.
well, huh?
Good job.
Okay, I guess I'll go ahead and shut this thing down.
Thanks, Ralph.
Read your emails. Thank you guys for coming. And we'll give the library thing on the Saturday a shot and see how that works out for us. So
Okay.
with that, I'm going to go ahead and shut the meeting down.
Thank you,
Very
Rob.
much, Ralph.
Hi, everybody.
all.
Thank you.
Thank you.
See you,
Bye. Good
bye-bye.
night. Thank you, Ralph.